Oh my. Are you playing that because like we haven't won anything in a few years? Like I haven't heard that anthem in so long. Oh, Paul, nice to see you. You look tanned. You look well rested. You look like someone who just spent a few days in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Why are you playing the Canadian national anthem for me this morning? Are you mocking me?
Hardly at all. Your Canadians put up quite the fight in the World Baseball Classic. This is my recording of the national anthem where your Canadians were the champions of Pool A. They took first place in Pool A, shocking a pool that included both Puerto Rico and Cuba. It was pretty and obviously Colombia as well, and Panama.
Yeah.
This was
Panama.
it was the only game that Canada lost in pool play. It was from Canada, Panama, which is hard to say.
Yeah.
That
Who
was
knew
the
those two
national anthem.
countries rhymed? Yeah. Well, I
Right.
mean, so that was the only game you went to. Is that
Yes.
correct?
We
And it
only
was
did
the
the
only
one
game
game.
Canada lost in the round robin. So,
That's why I stayed
um,
away.
I appreciate. Well, you didn't go to the USA Canada game in Houston, did you?
I certainly did not. It's I had one game in me, and it was, you can see from that video. Obviously, you can't see it in this audio podcast, but it was not hugely attended. But the Canadian fans were well represented. We saw a ton of Canadian fans there, and I even sent you a picture from the Fort of El Morro in San Juan, where we just ran into a group of Canada fans, all wearing the Canada hat and wearing their red shirts and everything. And it was funny because I approached them and I was just like, hey, you guys in town for the World Baseball Classic? And we chatted for a little bit. And then like 20, 30 minutes later, we're sort of walking around with our group. We had, said hello and goodbye to those folks. And these two women come up to us and they're like, those Canadians that you guys were talking to, were they like the Olympic curling team or something? Like, who were they? And
Oh my goodness.
they were just people in town for the World Baseball Classic.
Oh, that's well. Did you tell them you know Chris in Canada?
Well, yeah, I did actually. I was just like, oh, you guys know
Okay,
Chris?
of
They're
course,
like, oh,
of
yeah.
course they do. So let's first of all let's assure our listeners here that we will do extensive breakdown of the Tennessee Titans
Yeah.
logo uniform release. But Paul went to the World Baseball Classic, so that is we're going to hit that right off the top here. So tell me about your experience. How did it go? Like, what is it like going to Puerto Rico and go to a baseball game at that historic stadium and see two teams that don't play in Puerto Rico, right? You saw Canada, Panama in
Yeah.
basically another nation. What's it like
Yeah.
seeing a neutral game like that?
Well, I'll tell you, when I see a new ballpark, and this weirdly was not a new ballpark for me. I had seen a Caribbean Series game there in 2014, Iram Bithorn Stadium in San Juan. And first of all, I don't know if it's a well-known trivia answer. The first Puerto Rican major leaguer was Iram Bithorn, right? Like I don't think that that's a commonly known answer to that question.
I I feel like that should be known. Like we just accept that that stadium's called that, and I've never
Right.
looked into why.
Yeah, he was the first
Okay.
Puerto Rican major leaguer. So, and I didn't even know that from going to the game. I learned it from reading the biography of Roberto Clemente that I'm reading right now, which is awfully, awfully good. But Chris, we're burying the lead here. You asked me at the end of last episode a very important question that I was,
Mhm.
determined to find the answer to, which was, will they have ice cream helmets at the World Baseball Classic?
Come on.
Not only did they have World Baseball Classics, they had three different colors. They had red, white, and blue, but they partnered with Baskin Robbins so that you could get them on the island. So the first ice cream helmets that I got were actually at a Baskin Robbins in Humacao, Puerto Rico, where my buddy Ed's family lives. And we went to the Baskin Robbins, got the three different ones. They were still selling them at the ballpark, had the little Baskin Robbins logo, had the Puerto Rican flag on it. And so that was,
Oh, that's amazing.
yes, yes. And
Nice.
then I have this thing, Chris, where I will drag people to a ballpark hours early.
Of
And
course.
this was an occasion where the game was at 7 o'clock. We were about a 45-minute drive away. And I kept saying, like, let's leave it 4:30, maybe 4:15. Let's maybe by the time it actually got to game day, we left at 3 o'clock in the afternoon for a 7 p.m. game. And I was deathly afraid that all the people I was dragging there were going to be bored to death with us just standing outside this stadium. Let me tell you, the outdoor World Baseball Classic festival that was happening kept us occupied for the full like 2.5 hours before we went into the game, right? Like it was actually really entertaining. But I told you before I went that I was planning on wearing
Right.
my Phillies jersey and my Expos cap. And by the time I spent, you know, several hours walking around Old San Juan and seeing everybody else already wearing their World Baseball Classic stuff, I was a total sucker for all of the unlicensed knockoff World Baseball Classic stuff. I bought a hat, I bought the jersey. Like they're absolutely nothing to do with the actual designs of the actual uniforms. But as we've talked about, those uniforms were not that great anyway.
They weren't.
They were
The
not that
caps were
great.
okay.
The
Now,
caps,
I
yeah,
can't. I mean, let's be fair. Like,
yeah,
you're just. I can see you, and it looks like you're just sort of wearing generic Puerto Rico merchandise, right? Like,
right,
you're representing the island.
yeah, yeah.
Can you trademark an island? Like, so you might be okay there.
It is like right, like it is the this is on the
It
sleeve
looks.
patch. Like that's their official
It
team
looks like the
logo, right?
PR logo.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
It has the Todd Radom World Baseball Classic logo on the back, like the
okay.
full back too. I mean, it is a huge World Baseball Classic logo on the back.
Well, that's trademarked.
That is certainly trademarked. I'm sure Todd would have something to say about that, or Major League Baseball. But just let me tell you, the island was absolutely buzzing. It was so much fun. The fans from the 5 countries represented in Pool A, it was a really genuinely cool experience. And I kind of feel like the World Baseball Classic is a little bit like March Madness, which we are just about to
Mm.
get into, where the
Hmm.
opening rounds are actually more fun than when you get to the end. And I think we saw that last night. At the time of this recording, the U.S. held off the Dominican Republic with a very questionable third called strike
An
against
assist.
an assist by the umpire with the tying run 90 feet away. 30 meters, I guess. Is that
Uh,
do we do
we don't
meters in
know
baseball?
we don't know meters when it comes to baseball here. We can do met.
uh,
Canada's very complicated when it comes to what we use for metric and what we use for imperial.
yep.
We do not know the distance between the bases in meters.
It's too funny.
Now, before I get into a whole rant about this
Yeah.
World
Uh-huh.
Baseball Classic,
Uh-huh.
now that my team's been eliminated, I can rant
Right.
about it.
Yeah.
I did have one more pressing question
Yeah.
for you,
Yeah.
and that was, what is the national anthem situation for a game between two countries
Yeah.
in another country?
Yeah.
How does that
Absolutely.
work?
Right. And as we know, Puerto Rico is a protectorate of the US. It's a territory, not
Hmm.
a state. That was interesting in and of itself because there are actually two different colored versions of the Puerto Rican flag. There's one with like a lighter blue, kind of like a Tennessee Titans blue, I would say. That
Foreshadowing.
that's like the national flag. That's like the independent Puerto Rico, we want to be an independent nation flag. And then there's the one that's on my jersey that is sort of more common. I don't actually know if there is a Puerto Rico national anthem. I
Hmm.
feel like I should know that. But they played two national anthems, and it was Panama first and then Canada. That was it. They played recordings,
Oh,
and my girlfriend Amy's a singer. She was ready to step in. She knows the Canadian national anthem. She was psyched to get in there once she saw they
but can
didn't
she
have
sing it
someone.
in Spanish?
Now that would be something. I would love to know if that exists.
I don't think
Uh,
there is such a. There should be though.
I can only imagine the firestorm if someone sang the U.S. national anthem. That happened at a Dodgers game, I
It
think,
did.
right? Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there.
Now that I say
Yeah.
that out loud, and there was a firestorm, of course, right? Like so.
Of course there was. Well, there's a firestorm over everything if you look deep enough.
Uh,
I'm
you
surprised
know,
they didn't play the American anthem, if
there
it's in
was
the United States.
there was no American anthem. It was just the two countries who were playing that game that day. And I will say, just as an experience, the Panamanian fans were great. The Canadian fans were great. And something that I feel like I've seen throughout, even not just at the games that I've attended, but the fans from these different nations are doing their thing, celebrating their way, having fun, and that's been great to see. But very respectful of one another. Like I didn't see any hostilities between, there was no shouting, there was no, it was just fans were celebrating and having fun and just enjoying their own national pride. And so it was great to see. The Canadians were loud for their team. The
Right.
Canadians were up for much of that game, and then Panama made a comeback, and then the Panamanian fans were loud. It was a great experience. I had never seen a World Baseball Classic game before. You said last week that you've been to several. I would love to see the World Baseball Classic be played in more nations than just the U.S. Like the fact that the finals are being played in Miami and Houston right now
Yeah.
doesn't feel very world to me.
Well,
So,
that leads into my rant about the World Baseball Classic here. So I love the World Baseball Classic. I
mhm.
love that this is finally starting to be accepted.
Yeah,
Well, let's be honest, the world accepted it. The United States was a little late to the party, and I can understand why they would be. They have nothing to prove, right? They're like, well, we are the best, and of course we're going to win. And if we don't win, it's because our best didn't play.
right.
And I get that as a Canadian. Whenever I see Team Canada in hockey,
Yeah,
if we didn't win, it's because well, our best guys just didn't play. That's fine.
right.
There's always an excuse for it.
Yeah,
But the whole point of this tournament is to grow international interest in
yeah,
the sport. Baseball got so down on the international level that it got booted out of the Olympics,
yeah,
right? Like
right.
that's about as bad as you can get in terms of global acceptance.
And there are some
Where
goofy
am I
sports
where
in
am
the
I going
Olympics,
with
right?
this? Yes, oh yeah, of course. There's like breakdancing was at the last Olympics. But baseball's not. But baseball's
Yeah,
coming back in 28 in LA.
yeah,
The United States, right? This is a team of all-stars. This is a team that you want to put around the world and
yeah,
let the world see. Like think back to like the 30s or whatever, and Babe Ruth and his traveling all-stars. They'd go to
right.
Japan and they do a whole, and now Japan's one of the baseball juggernauts of the world.
Yeah,
I went back and I looked at every single game that the United States has played in the World Baseball Classic because this is just I'm petty like this. Yeah, the US beat my team in a game where my team was the higher seed. So we got the advantage of home field advantage
right,
against the Americans in Houston in a
right,
stadium with 40,000, you know,
right,
very passionate American fans, which, by the way, awesome that the Americans are accepting this tournament. I love it. It wouldn't survive if they didn't.
right.
So I went back and I looked. The United States has played 41 as the time of this recording. They've played 41. By the time this goes out, they'll have played 42 World Baseball Classic games.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
39 of those
yeah.
games, or 93%, have been played in the United States. The U.S. has played one World Baseball Classic game in another country where they played that country's team. So one game where they were truly the road team.
What was that game?
That was against Canada in Toronto.
Oh, okay. Oh, which is that the one that Canada won?
No, we lost that one, but it
Oh,
was
okay.
close.
All right.
We beat the U.S. in Phoenix in a game where we almost mercied them, by the way. I just want to
Ooh,
point that out
ooh,
until a late comeback. But like, imagine the U.S. having to play Japan at the Tokyo Dome. Like, just
right.
imagine the
Yeah,
atmosphere of that. And so you have the world's best players on your team, but they
yeah,
can't play a game in another country's stadium. Like,
right.
I understand, right? We gotta coddle them and make sure that Aaron Judge feels nice and safe, and he can only play in major league venues,
Yep.
and he can only play in Houston. He can only play in Miami, where it's nice and warm, where he's surrounded by familiar faces.
Yeah,
But come on, like the Japanese team had to travel all the way across the world to play
sure.
one game,
Yeah,
and surprise, they lost.
right,
You know?
right. That Japanese team had two of my Hanshin Tigers on it. As you know, I am a big Hanshin Tigers fan because I have been to two Hanshin Tigers games in Osaka. But Morishita was the guy who hit the 3-run homer that put Japan up 5-2, made it look like they were going to cruise to victory against Venezuela, and then Venezuela came back. So
Well, Venezuela didn't have to travel quite as far as.
no, they didn't. I'll tell you, there's a contingent of baseball fans, fans of the sport, who were actively rooting against their own national team in favor of a Dominican versus Venezuela final because of
Ooh, that'd be fun.
how much fun would that be in Miami, right? Like, I mean, and we were denied that by a rogue umpire, but it was I don't disagree at all. I love the vibe of the World Baseball Classic. I'm having so much fun with it. It's been appointment viewing, right? Like I
Hmm.
recorded the US versus Canada game so that I could watch it because we had plans that evening that had been in the works for months. I recorded it, turned my phone off so I didn't see any notifications about it, and, got home and watched the game.
Oh, good.
Weirdly, did not have any notifications about it on my phone when I turned my phone back on. So I thought that my phone would have been blowing up there, but
I thought about sending you a message, but I chose instead to go to sleep and go on with my day.
it's all right because like it's not like I was reveling in it. It's not like I was just like, haha, my team beat your team. It's sort of like you
I wouldn't
say, it's
expect that from you, Paul. And if you were like that, I don't know if I'd be talking to you. But anyways,
well, what I will say though is how much I enjoyed the pride, the very obvious pride in the Puerto Rican team, even after those like sketchy insurance issues kept some of their best players off their
hmm
roster, right? Like that was another thing where the Puerto Ricans were like, "Hey, this feels like it's maybe a little, rigged towards one certain team." To have a game end last night on a terrible call is going to do nothing to suppress those thoughts that this is rigged for the Americans.
well, especially these are the only baseball games of the entire year where you can't challenge a strike call.
Right. Right.
Whoa, isn't that weird?
But bring on the robot umpires. I mean,
Oh man.
I don't know how far we'll get into this ever on the podcast, but I am
Yeah,
fully bought into Skynet here. Give me the robot umpires.
yeah.
Uh,
Is that the end of our World Baseball
I
Classic
think
rant?
so, Chris. I could talk about this a
Yeah,
lot. I think what I was going to say, the last thing I was going to say was just like how much excitement there was all over the island for that Puerto Rican team. And they knew they weren't going
that's
to win the
great.
whole thing, but it was so cool to be in a place where there was just genuine national enthusiasm for their guys, for their team, most of whom were actually born there. Nolan Arenado, a notable exception on that Puerto Rican team,
Hmm.
but it was just everybody was wearing a jersey, a hat, something. I mean, it was just everywhere, and it wasn't just for the tourists. It was the locals at the gas station. It was a community thing, and it was very cool to experience this in that place. Next up, I got to go to Japan for
Oh,
pool play in Japan. How much fun would that be?
absolutely. Now, so that story you're describing or that scene is exactly why they should be playing this in more countries around the
Right,
world, right?
right.
You want that passion to grow, and then
Yes,
that's when you spread the joy of baseball.
yeah,
Is like, and sure, maybe you take a couple of tournaments and you take a loss because you're playing it in a, in a country that maybe won't fill the stadium as much
right,
as
right.
Miami, a Houston, or an LA.
Yeah,
But that's part of the sacrifice you make by growing the game.
yeah.
Just like us Canadians sacrificed 31 years of Stanley Cup championships for the NHL and hockey to grow in the US.
I mean, what
But
about
that's
doing it
another
like the
rant.
Olympics, right? Like where there's a host
Sure.
country or a host continent, right? Like, and
Yeah.
maybe next time it's all in Asia and then it's all in South America or I don't.
Yeah.
So
That'd be great. I'd be all for that, but we
yeah,
know that a lot of the players don't want to be too far from their spring homes.
yes,
And
yes,
so,
yes.
like all the players who play in the Asian pool, I guess that's their problem.
Team Australia can suck it, I guess.
I your words, not mine, Paul.
Chris, I guess there's other news going on in the sports logos world.
Oh, if I never have to look at another Tennessee Titans story again, I'll be happy.
There's been a lot. There's been a lot on the site
Oh my
recently.
gosh.
Yeah,
So we went into me and the other fellas
yeah,
who work on the site. I left you alone because I knew you were on vacation. Me and Andrew Lynn, Glenn Cook, the two other writers, we got together and we got thinking there's no bigger news in our universe than when a Big Four team unveils a new logo and uniform. And which of the Big Four is the biggest? The NFL.
sure.
So we should be treating this as if it's the only thing that matters in the world this week. I I can't believe it took us 30 years to realize this.
Right.
So, we're going to do Titans all week. We're not going to do any other stories,
Yeah,
especially on the day of the unveiling. So, Andrew did a good story about the logo uniform history. We had the leak that came in, which was
yeah,
another interesting thing to do. I did a couple of YouTube videos, which I hadn't been doing recently. And we did a reaction piece, which released Sunday afternoon. All things that we typically wouldn't have done. We would have just
right,
done, here's the uniform. Good luck to y'all.
right.
So I had to sit through a choppy live stream of that that unveiling event, which if you're not a fan, and no disrespect to the Titans, it's not that I don't like your team, I'm just not a Titans fan.
Sure.
If you're not a fan of the team and you have no connection to say like the local culture, there's nothing more boring in the world than watching a team you don't care about in a city you have no connection to unveil a uniform at an event, sitting through speech after speech and videos and lasers and fog and music. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, get it over with. And it's a nighttime event too, right? Like it started at
Yeah.
8:30 my time.
Oh no.
Oh, I'm done. Let's go. Come on. We
That's
already know what they look
bedtime,
like.
Chris.
We already know what they look like. What are we doing? They
Yeah.
leaked earlier in the day.
Right.
So yeah, I went to my in-laws' place yesterday, and my father-in-law handed me like a craft logger, and the design on it was like a guitar with a cowboy hat on it. And I was like, "Get that away from me! I want nothing to do with Nashville, anything country music. I just can't think of anything else."
Right.
But maybe instead of talking about my coverage of it, let's talk about the actual uniform and logos itself. Paul, as we touched on in, I believe it was episode one,
Yeah.
this is probably to me, it's one of the toughest uniforms logo packages that I've ever had to come up with an opinion on.
Ah,
Simply because of all of the variables around it and
yeah.
the, you know, does this history belong to Houston?
Right.
Does Tennessee have a rightful claim to it? Should
Yeah.
a franchise be able to pull from it? I I can't disagree with anybody. They all have their sides, and I'm like, yeah, you're right, and yeah, you're right. Everybody's right and everybody's wrong at this.
Yeah.
Everybody's right and everybody's wrong at the same time. It's just one of those things, I guess. So,
There,
now you be the voice of reason here, and you tell me what the right answer is. I'm gonna go for a walk, and I'm gonna let you tell everybody what the right answer is once and for all.
so you when you do cover these things, you often will express an opinion, and you'll, especially if you find something positive, you'll say, "Hey, this is a really sharp new thing that this team has done." But as you say, there's so many other elements here, and the opinions that you all were expressing in that article, I was taken by the fact that every one of you was just like, powder blue is great. How could powder blue not be great? It's a refreshing change for the NFL. We all love the powder blue. And then you got into, some of the details about the red lining around the letters, and you got pretty nitty-gritty. Listen, you've done 30 years of covering sports logos based on details like that the average fan may not notice or may not necessarily care about right away until they start getting more into it. But in general, I think these look really good. If you discount the the stories, the questions about are should they be allowed to do this, and even like what are the legal aspects of it, where do the intellectual property lines get drawn. I think in general, it's a good look. It's very clearly and intentionally a tie to the old Houston Oilers days. I'm curious because you guys said in this article that that there's still some sour feelings about the fact that the way the Oilers departed and the fact that they were the Tennessee Oilers for a brief time during that transition. The fact that Houston has the Texans now, does that lessen this? Did they not care about it? Like that's just that other franchise, or are people, are you hearing that people are actually legitimately sour about 30 years after the fact the Titans using the old Oilers color scheme?
People are sour. And I don't, what does that say for the Texans, right? Like you
Right.
can't help but feel a little offended if you're the Houston Texans and
Yeah.
you're like, hey, we brought a team back to you guys. We gave you your own identity
Yeah.
that wasn't being shared. But like, how could you be more Houston than being called the Texans and a red, white, and blue color scheme?
Yeah.
And yet everyone's like, yeah, but we want that back instead. The Texans have been around. 2002 is their first year. So
Yeah.
we're 24, 25 years in.
Yeah.
Do some backwards math. How long were the Oilers in Houston? I think if you only count the NFL years, it's about the same, right? Because
Yeah.
1970
Right.
to 96, that's 20. Okay.
Yeah.
So the Texans have almost been around in the NFL as long as the Houston Oilers were.
Yeah.
And again, looking at NFL only, the Oilers franchise has now been in Tennessee longer than they were in Houston.
Yeah.
So is it time for Houston fans to really just say, okay, that's it. We're never getting this back. Whether we like it or not, this identity belongs to Tennessee. It is what it is.
Right.
maybe we should just make peace with that and actually enjoy the team that wants to play here, that
Right.
wants to stay here, that wants to serve us instead of pining over an ownership group and a franchise that is basically, giving us the finger, let's be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
And not only that, but you could say they might even be mocking you in the process. I like to think that there's no intentional disrespect here. It's probably, I'd like to think they're just trying to honor their franchise's history, which is how they're getting away with this. But with all the sensitivities involved here, it's
Yeah.
hard not to think of as a come on, guys, like what are you doing?
My guess is that it's not an intentional taunt, but rather they know that it was a good brand. They know that there's going to be nostalgia for it. They're going to bring it back. It's probably going to sell a lot, right? Like it's
Yeah,
probably going to
and
do it.
that is what they said. Sorry to interrupt, but
No,
that's
that's
what
okay.
they said was we did focus groups. We looked at some of the numbers and we found that the colors, they were careful not to mention Oilers, right? They said
Yeah.
the colors of our throwbacks and our alternate jerseys did amazing numbers.
Yeah.
So why not make that our full-time look?
Yeah.
It's hard to argue with that. Again,
Right.
I can't argue with any of these points. Everyone's making a good point here, and I
there's
can't
a
choose a side.
there's a scene in Cheers where there's an argument going on and Woody is watching it, right? Like and every time someone makes a point, he's like, I agree with that. I agree with that. I agree with that. So you're Woody from Cheers right now with this.
Oh man. It just is it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Like and so I guess we have to strip that away
Yeah.
because the history is what it is. It cannot be changed
Yeah.
unless you're the NHL or
Well,
the Cleveland Browns or the Baltimore Ravens. History can't be changed.
yeah. And this is what keeps coming up in my head, right? Like, and we talked about this a little bit before, is the Nationals playing as the Expos, the
Mhm.
Carolina playing the Hurricanes playing as the Whalers. You like what if, I mean, God forbid, like what if the Ravens had like a Browns throwback, right? Like what if they played as the Browns one day, the Baltimore Ravens? The
Oh
rage
man.
that would ensue.
So it's hard to figure out how that would feel because the Browns have come back
Right.
and they've since reestablished themselves as the Browns and the
Yeah.
Ravens. They were like, the NFL severed that and
Yeah.
there was no throwback to that.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a different story if Baltimore had played as the Browns for a few seasons and
Right.
wore Browns uniforms
Sure. There's the
and
alliteration.
Cleveland. Yeah, right.
The
Yeah,
Baltimore
Baltimore
Browns.
Browns
Yeah.
could be the baseball team as well, right? The Orioles used to be the Browns.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
It
Both
is funny.
Baltimore teams were the Browns.
How about that?
So, but like, and then imagine Cleveland gets a team back and they have a completely different name and like
Yeah.
the Cleveland Ohioans or something. And then at that point, Baltimore comes back and wears Browns uniforms. It's a very different situation
Yeah.
than it would be now. And again, I'd be saying to you, boy, everyone's making a good point here, Paul.
Well, I mean, I think your reaction to it is just that there are a lot of good points to be made. You can see why the Houston Oilers fans, the old Houston Oilers
Mm,
fans, would be upset about it. I think about my grandfather, who was a diehard Philadelphia A's fan.
mm.
And when the A's left Philadelphia, the Phillies were already there. And it was still hard for him to be like, oh, I guess I'll root for the Phillies now, right? Like, because the Phillies stink, and now I'm going to root for the Phillies. He, by the way, died 3 months before the Phillies won their first ever World Series, and that is like the most
Oh,
tragic thing in the world to me. I hate that so much.
so
But he
here's a
was
question. Do you know if your grandfather enjoyed the Oakland Athletics World Series run in the 70s?
he did not like he couldn't give two damns about it, right? Like it was
Oh.
he was yeah, that was just that when that team left. And obviously they left for Kansas City first and then Oakland, right?
Hmm.
Like so that just was not a factor in his life. I do have a nitty-gritty design question for you because I think that you guys all mentioned this in your reactions to it.
Hmm.
The guitar strings. I mean, there are
Mm.
some Tennessee, Nashville things like they've got the stars in there, and I actually really like that T logo with the stars in it. And you can't do a sports brand in Nashville without doing stars in it. By the way, that's the law. But you all mentioned that there was like this guitar string element, but they had sort of hidden it in a way. I would like to get you to expound on that a little bit more because I thought
Sure.
that was sort of an interesting point.
Well, the guitar, well, so they're going to add anything they can to this uniform to differentiate it from Houston and the Oilers, right? So
Right.
guitar strings and stars. Now, Texas has nothing to do with stars, I don't think, right? Like that's not a Texas thing, the star.
I mean, there's a star. There's a
Yeah,
star in
if
Texas.
you had one star, well, then they'd have some.
Right.
So the guitar strings, obviously Nashville, Music City, and all that.
Yeah.
They put guitar strings in two places, one on the sleeves of the uniform within the
Yeah.
striping,
Okay.
and one in the stripe on the helmet.
Okay.
I think this was a good idea. This was well intended. I think this is a good way to sneak in a little bit of local culture without, hitting you over the head with it.
Yeah.
Because, guitar strings have nothing to do with a team named Titans, let's be honest. So you put guitar strings in there, you kind of make them subtle. But the problem was they made them so subtle that it from a distance when you're watching a game, you have no idea that there are guitar strings on this
Right.
uniform. And if the point was to sort of sneak in a local reference, why are you putting it in such a prominent place on the uniform, like the helmet stripe or on the sleeves? Why not just put it in the inside back collar where you usually put in some sort of local tie, and instead do, like, say, a proper striping on the sleeves or on the helmet?
I'll be honest that it took you guys pointing out that they were guitar strings for me to realize they weren't just a design element. And then once you see it, you can't unsee it. I think the reason it might be difficult to react to this is it feels like in general it's an attractive uniform. You guys all made the point that this light blue uniform is different from a lot of what we're seeing in the rest of the NFL. But I think the reason it's difficult to react to is it does feel a little bit like a mashup, right? Like it's the old Houston
Mhm.
Oilers, but it's been sort of Nashville'd up. So
It's
I don't
it's a
know.
too many it's a too many cooks in the kitchen kind of idea. Well, that I don't know if that's the right term, but I mean, you're trying to make too many people happy at once. You want to appease the modern Titans fans. Look, we still have Titans branding in here. You want to appease the throwback fans. Look, we have Oilers branding in
Right,
here. Let's
right.
put it all together and let's make something that just makes everybody upset. Right.
Well, and for you trying to cover it, how do you write the lead to that, right? Like the Tennessee Titans unveiled a new brand
Yeah.
that does what exactly? It's a throwback. It's Nashville. It's powder blue. Like,
Right. Well,
so
that's why we're pros, Paul, because we can figure that out. Me and Andrew, we talked about this because Andrew wrote the article. He's
yeah.
my NFL guy, and we went with for their 30th season in Tennessee. They unveil I can't even remember what term we used, but we wanted to play up that it was their 30th season, and
Yeah.
we thought that might soften some of the Oilers hate. But
Is that your job? Were you trying to soften the Oilers hate here?
Well, like, despite what a lot of other people who put out content on the internet try to
Yeah.
do, I don't like controversy and fighting, and I don't want to start a fight just for clicks. And
Yeah.
my job is to put out, here's the information.
Yeah.
You guys decide whether or not this is good.
Yeah.
But
Well, Chris, you're wearing a hat right now that says St. Pat's. It's sort of an
yeah, it's
olive
probably a
green.
coincidence.
I do own a bright green St. Patrick's Day Philadelphia Phillies cap that I bought in Clearwater at a Phillies spring training game, and I wear it. There's really like only one time of the year that I can actually wear it. But Chris, this is what we in the business call a segue. As you know, I've been doing a podcast for a long time, and
You're the
we
pro here.
we call this a segue right now, where I'm going
Segue.
to ask you about. There's spring training happening right now. It's obviously we're recording this the day before St. Patrick's Day. This is a little inside the kitchen, no, a little how they make the sausage. This is a little bit how they make the sausage here. We're recording this the day before St. Patrick's Day. It drops the day after St. Patrick's Day. So we have
Hmm.
just seen at the time of this dropping the St. Patrick's Day caps on the field. They're a little bit different this year. I'm curious your take on the whole tradition of wearing green on St. Patrick's Day for Major League Baseball teams at spring training, and then this year's hats in particular. What do you think?
Sure. Before I get into this, can you say Clearwater one more time?
Clearwater, Chris,
There
Clearwater.
you go. Okay. Just wanted to see that confirms he's from
I,
Philly, folks. Uh, Wooter.
Clearwater.
And thank you for not making fun of my accent at all during any of this. Um,
I love it. I love it so much. Especially last week when you spoke French.
oh, did I?
I
See, I
think you
come
said
in and
something
out
in
of it. I
French.
don't even notice. I don't even notice. The hats this year, what I'm surprised about the hats this year is that they are black.
Right.
St. Patrick's Day in sports, especially, you're supposed to wear green.
Right.
That's the whole fun of it is that we wear
Right.
green caps. So why are we going black? And instead, the
Yeah.
caps are a little, I guess you could say, Irish themed or
Right.
okay, help me out here. I'm going to get yelled at by somebody. Clover or shamrocks on the side.
I think
I think it's
shamrocks.
a.
Yeah,
I think a
it's
shamrock
clovers.
is always. Oh man, no, I'm not
Yeah.
going to say it.
Okay.
So there is a green leaf on the side
Yep.
with
Okay.
three leaves. Okay,
Just the three though, huh?
tradition.
My Phillies
Traditionally,
cap has them all under the brim.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, so
Yeah.
that's on the side with a secondary team logo within a diamond, and then the team's logo is recolored in green and gold on the front. But to me, the fun part of St. Patrick's Day is turning on a game and seeing everybody wear a green cap that does not match their uniform in any way, shape, or form. And we all have a good chuckle that day, just looking at players who wear green. And this year, we don't get to do that because instead, we're all wearing black caps. I don't quite understand. Maybe they figure these will sell better. People are more likely to wear a black cap than a green cap. But my gosh, the best part of St. Patrick's Day uniforms in baseball is the green cap, and they are gone.
Yeah.
Paul, what's going on? Who do I send an email to?
Rob Manfred at MLB.com. That should be the address, I would think. They they stopped wearing the green jerseys as well, right? Like because they
Hmm.
have a finite number of jerseys that they're allowed to wear during over the course of the
Yes.
year. So no
No
green
fun
jerseys.
allowed
Yeah.
from the fine folks at Nike.
The first time
No
I ever
fun.
did a spring training trip was in 1994 to Florida, and we actually saw the Phillies play on St. Patrick's Day, and they were fully greened up, and it was it
Oh,
was kind of wackadoodle, but it was fun, right? Like it was fun to see. It was a fun way to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. I'm not a huge fan of teams like completely upending their colorways to sell hats, and so I know that the Yankees are sort of a cultural phenomenon, and it's not just people don't just buy those hats to be fans. But like when I see like a light blue Yankees cap, it always feels odd to me. And so people will wear, especially wearing them to the game. Like if someone wears like a green Phillies cap to a Phillies game, I'm like, who are you cheering for? What's happening? I remember in 2009, the Phillies were playing the Rockies, and I live in Colorado. The Phillies were playing the Rockies in the playoffs, and there was a guy wearing what turned out to be a red Rockies 4th of July cap. And I thought he was a Phillies fan. I was like, hey, go Phils. And then I realized
oh.
he's wearing a Rockies cap. So I'm not a huge fan necessarily of the teams upending their colorways, but it's spring training. It's meant to be fun. St. Patrick's Day is green, fun, green day. So these caps, they just look sort of odd to me, right? Like the Orioles one in particular is just like a big green blob on the front of it. I feel like some of them work better than others do. But I mean, especially after this World Baseball Classic, I wish Major League Baseball would just frigging embrace fun, right? Like these caps are the Cal Raleigh refusing to fist bump Randy Arozarena of St. Patrick's Day caps.
I okay. So before we go nuclear on MLB here, I do want to say at least they're still doing something,
That's true.
right?
That's
They
true.
could just say we're not going to wear anything.
True.
This is better than nothing.
It's
And
true.
truth be told, it's not a terrible design. It's just not green, which is what I want. I want green. I'm looking at the caps now. The inside, they have like a tartan pattern back there.
Okay.
And then they have a clover slash shamrock slash don't yell at me on the back, which is kind of nice. So they're doing something. I'm glad they're still doing something. I wonder if this is more of a new era thing, like new era's pushing this,
Uh-huh.
because it seems like, baseball has had no problem wearing special caps, holiday caps. You saw it during Hall of Fame weekend last year. You still see it during Mother's Day, Father's Day, 4th of July, and Memorial Day or Armed Forces Day, where teams are still cool with wearing special caps, but not so much the special jerseys anymore.
Yeah.
And I love that. I'm going off a little bit here. I'm not talking about St. Patrick's Day anymore, but I'm talking about the Hall of Fame weekend in baseball last year. And I don't know if you were following this, but every team wore a throwback design as their cap,
Yeah.
which was fantastic, by the way. It was probably my favorite week of the year. However, nobody wore a throwback jersey.
Ah.
So you had some really bizarre combinations here,
Yeah.
like the Marlins wearing their original teal cap with
Yeah.
their current jersey. And
Right.
it
Meanwhile, the Diamondbacks just looked like the Diamondbacks, I guess. It's just like all the colors, just throw them in
yeah,
there
well,
all at
like I
once.
mean, the Yankees were fine, the Cubs were fine. Some teams
Right.
had no problem, but
Yeah.
I'm going to go talk about my Blue Jays for a second. They wore
Sure.
their modern day powder blue uniforms
Yeah.
with their original 1977 cap with the white panel, and oh my
Yeah.
gosh, like I think we discovered something new here. But of course, that was it.
Right.
So, who am I going to give a stick tap to here? I'm going to go ahead and say New Era. New Era is the one doing this. Good on
New
you
Era
guys.
did this. Chris, I feel like this is something that I should know, so I Googled it while we were talking here. My mother's maiden name is Mary Catherine Boyle. I have cousins who are O'Keefe's. We've also got the side with the Caputos and the Angelucci's and everything, right? Like so, it's a split. But I feel like I should know with that heritage and this red beard the difference between a shamrock and a clover. So I did Google it, and you're in the clear. You're fine. A shamrock is a type of clover. The
There you go.
shamrock is used as a symbol of Ireland. So
Okay.
you are in the clear. Biologically, they're interchangeable, but the shamrock is the symbol of Ireland.
Okay. Well, guess what? I'm still going to get yelled at for it. So it doesn't
Hey, it just
matter.
means people are listening. I hope we get yelled at.
Hey,
Everyone
hey,
yell at
okay.
us.
Yeah, yell all you
Give
want.
us 5 stars and
Everybody,
then yell at us.
tell you what, yell at Paul and he'll let me know what you said.
There you go. Well, Chris, this was episode 3. We did it. This is now episode 3. There is a study out there for podcasts that like a very small percentage of them make it past 5 episodes, right? That
Oh
people
dear.
get into it, they have fun for like a couple episodes, and then it's too much work or it's what they don't make it past 5. I'm confident that we're just going to sail past that and keep going here. Episode 3, we did it. It's in the books, and it's a ton of fun. And now I
It
know
is.
so much more about this Tennessee Titans uniform than I ever thought I would.
Don't
So
don't you feel so much better about yourself now that you know this?
I do. I feel like I'm in like the 1%. I mean, we said it earlier in a previous episode. We are the sickos, right? Like we're the ones
We are the
who
sickos. The Sickos podcast.
the sickos. Oh, we didn't have that conversation. This is called the
No.
Sickos podcast. We didn't. So
There's a bunch of names I'm bouncing around in my head.
all right. Well, by the time we get past episode 5, we'll know what this podcast is
Someone in
going
the
to be called.
comments said we should call it something about a logo. Something about logos.
Something. Just call it something about logos.
Yeah, because that's what I said at the beginning of episode 2. It should be something about logos.
Something about logos. All right. If that's on Twitter, I may have to log on to Twitter and go look at it and see. So, in the meantime, Chris, what fun. And look forward to seeing what the site has for us this week. And whatever comes up this week, we'll be talking about it next week on the Sports
That's how it
Logos,
works.
Something About Logos podcast.
See you later, Paul. Have a good one.